things happen when the bone breaks through the skin.
I'm gonna shatter your arm, and now I'm gonna go to your neck. I'm gonna put you to sleep so that I'm safe and you're incapacitated.
He will snap your arm. He will break your leg. He will permanently injure you.
It'll bend, it'll bow, and then it just gives way.
He's got multiples.
I've had people scream, badly.
The bone collector.
I want to give the crowd what they want to see. If they want to see the guy get his arm totally off, I'll rip it off.
Wabbers aren't saying it since before Mark times.
I mean, not even a goodbye, not even a thank you, nothing?
No, I guess not,
Oh my God.
If you enjoy stories about legendary fighters, make sure to hit the like button
Shout
and
out to
subscribe.
Flashback MMA,
and
man.
if you want to turn on May 24th, 1979 in Las Vegas, Nevada,
I'm born in Las
Francisco
Vegas.
Santos Mir III was raised in a martial arts household.
My dad came over from Cuba. Obviously boxing and judo and wrestling is a big part of the culture there. My dad likes martial arts.
I grew up watching my dad, showing Bruce Lee movies and Chuck Norris. Then, as I was a kid, watching Bloodsport and Kickboxer.
And so I think he wanted to get more into fighting. So he opened up a karate gym.
Frank Mir Sr. ran a Kenpo karate school in Las Vegas.
But our karate, especially from what he did in the 70s, was very much full contact.
It was more like above the waist kickboxing, because boxing and judo and stuff. I think a lot of boys try to emulate their father.
At 6 years old, my first Taekwondo tournament, right? I can't remember what it was like not to be in a gym.
And under his father's guidance, Mir trained in American Kenpo, earning a black belt as a teenager.
You have to have an identity.
Damn.
It gives you focus for what you do. And so that was
black
just always
belt as a
been my
teenager.
identity, just as a martial artist. My father was one.
At Bonanza High School, Mir emerged as an elite athlete.
I never grew any more in height after my freshman year of high school. 13 years old.
Like 6'3".
6'2.5".
Wow.
Then he discovered the UFC during this time.
I was at my father's house. We were watching the first UFC that was in Denver. It was in '93 with Hoist Gracie.
He became a state wrestling champion in 1997.
Let's say I was 17. I wrestled in high school my junior year and my senior year. Did decent at it.
Finishing his senior year with
I
a
did
44-1 record.
By the time I was a senior in high school,
I mean, I did decent, 44-1 state champ. Man, come on, what? Yo.
I weighed 250.
He also played football and set a regional high school record in the discus throw.
I played football from a freshman year. I really did love football, but I've always just had a special place in my mind for, martial arts.
Wrestling, striking, and raw strength. The foundations were already in place. Growing up in combat sports, Mir's transition into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and MMA in his late teens was inevitable.
I didn't start jiu-jitsu until I was 19.
Look, I'm bigger, stronger, faster than most people. People show me a fight move, I pick it up in one shot. 3 months in, I'm choking black belts out in jiu-jitsu as a white belt. My learning curve is unreal.
And doing competitions, and I was interested in testing myself. Growing up in Vegas, I thought I was going to be a bartender. That was my aspirations when I was younger. No student loans, and I'll just make money right off the bat.
After high school, Mir took on whatever jobs he could find, working simply to fund his training.
I graduated high school. I was working at the Texas station. At the time before 9/11 hit, I was doing valet, front desk work. I even worked in the gift shop. When I would get off of work at 2 in the afternoon, there was a boxing gym. I'd be there at 2:30, and then at 5:30, I went to a place, modern martial arts, to jiu-jitsu class. At 7:30, I meet my dad at the athletic club, lift weights, and then go home and go to bed.
He even worked security at casinos owned by the Fertitta brothers, the same men who would later own the UFC.
Then I actually got a girlfriend, moved out of the house. 9/11 hit, started working at the bouncers at Rhino.
I think the first time I met Frank was at Spearmint Rhino.
You worked at the Spearmint Rhino in
security.
Vegas?
Yep. 2001 till 2009. And again, really had no intentions of being a professional fighter. I always trained martial arts because I wanted to push myself.
At his jiu-jitsu gym, his talent stood out, and his coach urged him to try professional MMA.
We had a guy at our gym that was actually training to do a mixed martial arts fight. And he ended up pulling out. And he was like, hey, would you want to take the fight? And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Went into MMA not so much to become a rock star or to make money, because there really was no money in MMA. I did it just to kind of put myself into adversity and see what I was made out of.
So I turned professional right off the bat.
Mir began his professional MMA career in 2001 at Hook and Shoot Showdown.
Hook and shoot was interesting because I remember being disgusted by the fact that we were all kind of like rotating gloves. They had about 20 fights that night. By the time I got the gloves, they were so soaked with, and I told myself it was water.
And he won by unanimous decision.
Never.
I paid $300 or something for it. That's kind of was my start.
He won his second bout at IFC by submission, then got a chance in the UFC as a late replacement.
And you went into the UFC fairly quickly, too.
The Fertittas had bought the UFC. The UFC had a guy fall out, and it was here in town. His opponent blew his knee, less than 30 days before the fight.
At the time, Joe Silva was scouting for new talent, and Frank Mir stood out immediately as a serious prospect.
So you meet up with Joe Silva eventually.
And so they called me up, like, hey, on 25 days notice, would you like to fight in the UFC? I said, sure, why not? That sounds cool.
Everything came easy to me. I won every fight I was in the street. It wasn't even close. It was a joke, you know what I mean? It wasn't until I went into the UFC and started facing other bad motherfuckers, to where I started going, oh, this shit isn't so fucking easy.
It kind of correlated with what I wanted to do, which was train. I just wanted to learn martial arts, and if this was an avenue for me to make extra money, to go train some more and learn and push myself and test myself, that's what it was going to be about.
Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg, and welcome once again to Las Vegas.
In November 2001, Mir made his UFC debut at UFC 34.
Hello, my name is Frank Mir. I'm 22 years old. I'm fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Mir, the Las Vegas native, set to make his debut here in the Octagon tonight.
Many people wonder if he will be the next great one in the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Submitting BJJ black belt Roberto Travin by armbar in just over a minute.
Roberto Travin was a multiple-time champion in Jiu-Jitsu. He was undefeated in MMA.
Were you expected to lose?
To go out there and armbar the guy in the first round, that was shocked people. They're like, wait a minute.
He followed up with another highlight reel win in March 2002, submitting veteran striker Pete Williams at UFC 36.
Look at that, look at that. Looking for it quickly. He's got it spun. Can he finish? Here's the tap. Oh my! How quick was that? How good was that?
Ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye on Frank Mir.
All right, folks, Frank Mir,
He's on the scene. Look out, folks.
These victories established Mir as a rising submission specialist in the heavyweight division. After an upset loss to England's Ian Freeman at UFC 38, Mir bounced back with quick wins over David Tank Abbott.
Great hold.
He beat Tank.
He's just got to keep coming around with it.
That boy Tank, you knocking it out, though.
That was quick. That was impressive.
It's got millions and millions of views. It was the first ever submission win by a toe hold.
Yeah, I grabbed his foot.
Yeah.
And I broke his ankle.
Oh, damn, you broke it?
Yeah, it popped out.
He didn't tap right away?
And Wes Sims, positioning himself for a title shot. On January 31st, 2004, Mir faced former champion Tim Sylvia for the vacant UFC heavyweight championship. In a now legendary finish, Mir caught Sylvia in a tight armbar just 50 seconds into the fight.
All of a sudden, I just feel pop, 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 and it opens. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what I have, but I have something, and it's being destroyed, so let me keep driving my hips forward.
Mir extended the armbar and broke Sylvia's right forearm.
Did you know instantly it was broken?
Instantly. I'm like, my elbow's out, I'm fine. He goes, pop, pop, pop. I'm like, this son of a bitch just broke my arm. I'm going to kill him.
Prompting referee Herb Dean to stop the fight.
And Tim thanked you afterwards for saving his career, because he said if you didn't stop that fight and that became a compound fracture, fuck, man, horrible things happen when the bone breaks through the skin.
He's got an arm. Looking for the arm.
I can't watch some shit on that. I can't watch it. I can't watch it.
Herb Dean is jumping in.
Herb Dean stops it due to the broken arm, but at one point it seems like Herb might restart the fight, and a lot of people are saying Silva is trying to play it off.
Herb Dean is saying his arm is broken.
Sylvia initially protested the stoppage, unaware his arm had snapped.
Did you already know you snapped the guy's arm?
I don't know, it popped. Like, I kind of like shrugged. I was like, oh, his arm popped. I felt it dislocate. So I thought maybe I just dislocated the elbow.
Let's see and wait and see. They could certainly restart it.
Good thing we probably didn't restart it. His arm's broken, you know, he had to put a plate in his arm.
So Herb saved my career. He could have had a compound fracture, and I might never fought ever again.
The gruesome injury confirmed Mir's victory by technical submission and earned him the UFC heavyweight title.
I was the youngest heavyweight champ of all time. Still, I think the youngest heavyweight.
Yeah. At only 25 years old, Frank Mir had reached the pinnacle of the sport, and this became one of the UFC's most dramatic championship moments. In the chaotic aftermath, Mir was hailed as one of the UFC's most dangerous fighters. However, triumph turned to tragedy only 3 months later. On September 17th, 2004, before Mir could make his first title defense, he was knocked off his motorcycle by a car while riding in Las Vegas.
When my wife and I first got married, it was hard to plan a wedding. So we got married at the Little Chapel of the West here in Las Vegas. The following year, we had planned this big wedding. 10 days before the wedding, I had bought a motorcycle as a victory present to myself. And the guy ran a light, broke my leg in half, threw me about 90 feet through the air.
The accident was devastating. Mir's femur was broken in 2 places, and every ligament in his knee was torn. The injuries were so severe that they threatened not only his career, but also his ability to walk again.
Broke my leg, tore my knee up to pieces. I lost my toe for a little bit, but it was hinged on enough that they sewed it back together.
People make fun of me because I always wear flip-flops.
Mir underwent surgery and began a long road to recovery.
10 days before our official wedding, I'm wheeled out of the surgery room. We went through it, though. It was probably one of the most painful experiences of my life.
In the meantime, the UFC created an interim heavyweight title since the champion was sidelined. After 14 months of inactivity, the UFC made the difficult decision to strip Frank Mir of the title on August 12th. Arlovski was promoted to undisputed heavyweight champion.
I was probably inactive for about 18 months by the time they finally stripped me of the title, which, I mean, they should have. They tried to wait as long as possible.
Doctors initially doubted he would ever fight again.
At that point, the doctors were like, dude, you're not going to be able to walk to the parking lot without your leg buckling, let alone go fight somebody, and that ain't going to happen anymore. It looked like that was going to be the end of my career, so.
And the more he started trying to do stuff, the more depressed and the more self-destructive he started becoming.
I became extremely violent because I was insecure about myself. You know, I was that dog now that immediately bit out of fear.
I lost my identity. My identity was being a martial artist. Now I was half a cripple.
He didn't want to leave the house. He became very angry. It was horrible. They gave him pain pills. He started drinking alcohol. Then the more pain pills he would take, the more depressed he would get.
I had no reason not to drink. I had no reason to treat my body with respect or with care.
And I didn't feel like I could protect my family. I got really infatuated with carrying guns and knives around probably that point in my life to make up for the fact that I couldn't fight. You know, that if I got into a fight with somebody, I'd be in trouble. You don't know what you have until you lose it was definitely something I lived by. I was like, wow.
Well, I was afraid that he was going to kill himself. Maybe he was going to OD. I don't know. It was bad.
For many, many years, and still to this day, you know, I struggle with pain pills because of that. It had a life-altering effect on me.
Against the odds, he eventually recovered his mobility and resumed training.
I would go to the gym and it was just horrible. Go out there and guys, I couldn't keep someone from passing my guard. You know, one leg kick and I fell flat on my face. I couldn't spar, couldn't wrestle, couldn't change levels. It was miserable. I'm out there getting embarrassed by guys that don't even do this for a living. They go to work and they're a blue belt, you know? And so my wife talked to Joe Silva, who was very much of a mentor of mine growing up. She and him put their heads together. My wife knew my personality. Just give him a date. Let's just book him a fight. And Joe's like, is he ready? And she's like, no, not even close. But I know my husband, if we give him a date, he will figure it out.
Mir finally returned to the cage in early 2006, nearly 2 years after his accident. His comeback fight was at UFC 57 in February 2006 against Marcio Cruz. Mir was not in his old form, losing by TKO in the first round. He won his next bout, but then fell short against up-and-comer Brandon Vera at UFC 65. These setbacks showed how difficult it was to regain his peak after such severe injuries. Mir himself later admitted that he had been dealing with lingering health and conditioning issues from the motorcycle accident during those first few comeback fights.
I got to feel it again, a little bit like what it was like to be back in there. It helped wake up things inside me that was like, screw this. This is not how I want to have my life. I don't want this to be the final chapter of my existence.
Yeah.
After regrouping from those losses, Mir quickly returned to the top of the division. In August 2007, he defeated Antoni Hardonk at UFC 74 via first-round submission.
It is all over! Beautiful Mir is back! He just said, I'm back!
At this time, Brock Lesnar had been heavily hyped and was set to face Frank Mir at UFC 81.
I can just picture his eyeballs getting big as I dump him on his head, and he doesn't know where the hell he's at.
I want to rip the skin off his face. I want his lungs to cave in. I want him to taste his own blood going down his throat.
A former NCAA wrestling champion and WWE superstar.
They came to me first because, you know, here they had the opportunity that, you know, Brock, you know, he came over and wanted to fight in the UFC. It was a win-win situation for both of us because, you know, if he wins over a former champion, and because of his look, his popularity, it brought a lot of eyes on me. So
Lesnar stormed into the octagon with enormous expectations.
Matt Hughes that came up to me backstage was like, hey, it's MMA versus pro wrestling. No, it's not. This isn't a pro wrestler. This guy's a legitimate killer. I mean,
he's
like,
he's a
national champion wrestler.
I'm about to say.
From the opening seconds, his size and wrestling overwhelmed Mir.
His back was unreal. Jesus, that's a human being. Like a horse, the thickness of their muscles. I was like, I've never seen a human being look like that. Like, it was just unreal.
Taking him down and unleashing heavy ground and pound.
Speed-wise, that's what fucking shocked me with his explosiveness. Really set him apart, you know.
But after a brief stoppage for illegal strikes to the back of the head, the fight resumed, and Mir stayed calm. When the opening appeared, Mir locked onto Lesnar's leg and secured a knee bar, forcing the 265-pound newcomer to tap just 1 minute and 30 seconds into the first round.
He's going for a footlock!
The loss handed Lesnar his first defeat in MMA, and it lit the fuse for a rivalry. Embarrassed, furious, and convinced it was a fluke, Brock Lesnar wanted revenge. the UFC took notice of Mir's resurgence. In 2008, he was named a coach on The Ultimate Fighter Season 8, opposite the interim champion, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, a clear signal that Mir was once again a top heavyweight. The role set up a collision between the two at season's end. That fight came at UFC 92 in December 2008, with the interim heavyweight championship on the line. Against the Pride legend, Mir delivered one of the best performances of his career. Using sharp, improved boxing, he dropped Nogueira multiple times before finishing him by TKO in the second round.
Oh, again! That's it! Nogueira has been finished for the first time ever!
The first time Nogueira had ever been stopped by strikes. With the win, Frank Mir captured the interim title, his second UFC championship.
People always say you can't do shit. I'm proof you could do things. I didn't even think I could beat Nogueira. Come on!
And put himself back on a direct collision course with Brock Lesnar. Lesnar got revenge in the rematch.
The other belt that Frank holds is a make-believe belt.
In July 2009, Lesnar and Mir fought for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Brock Lesnar knocked out Frank Mir in the second round.
It wasn't until after the second fight that actually I had some animosity towards him.
And it is all over! He's out. He said, talk all the shit you want now.
He lost a lot of respect from a lot of people for what he did post-fight.
That's not going to win him any fans.
I was surprised because at that point it had been an act on my part. And then when I'm looking at him, I'm like, wait a minute, were you acting or were you serious?
Frank Mir had a horseshoe up his ass. I told him that a year ago. I pulled that sumbitch out and I beat him over the head with it.
Frustrated and determined to respond, Mir rebounded later that year with a submission victory over Czech Congo, reigniting hopes of a third fight to finally settle the rivalry. But in attempting to hype a potential rematch, Mir crossed a line. He publicly stated that he wanted Brock Lesnar to be the first person to die from octagon-related injuries, comments that sparked immediate backlash from the UFC.
I want to fight Lesnar. I hate who he is as a person. I want to break his neck in the ring. I want him to be the first person to die due to octagon-related injuries. That's what's going through my mind.
Mir later apologized, admitting the remarks were inappropriate, but the damage was done. The UFC never booked a third fight with Lesnar. Around the same time, he was also removed from his role as a WEC commentator.
Is that true? Did you really lose the job because of that trash talk?
Yeah, because I wasn't allowed to commentate. I was just trying to sell the fight, like everybody else tries to sell fights. And then I really didn't get an opportunity to jump back in there because then that's when they consolidated UFC and the WEC just absorbed it.
With Brock Lesnar sidelined by diverticulitis, Mir battled Shane Carwin for the interim heavyweight title. Mir lost to Shane Carwin by knockout.
I think he's out, Mike. He's out. Jesus, stop the time. He's unconscious.
And later admitted that losing his commentary job during that period deeply affected him. Despite the setback, Mir rallied with a 3-fight win streak. He knocked out K1 legend Mirko Pro Cop with a perfectly timed knee.
Sometimes two.
Oh, shit.
And he knocks out Mirko Pro Cop.
Followed with a disciplined decision victory over Roy Nelson, and then delivered one of the most infamous submissions in UFC history, a Kimura over Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, breaking the Brazilian's arm.
You're the only person to ever submit Big Nog and beat him by striking.
He's got him out. It is all over.
You broke his arm too, didn't you?
Yeah, spiral fracture, bad.
You know those Brazilians, like the black belts, they don't want to tap.
Yeah, but I was looking at the referee, so that way I knew that it was already past the point of no return. He tapped too late. He tapped once it broke.
Those victories set up another title opportunity.
Oh
in May
my
2012,
God.
Mir challenged
The
newly
bone
crowned
collector.
champion Junior Dos Santos at UFC 146. Mir was knocked out by Dos Santos in round 2, missing his chance to reclaim the belt. After his title shot against Junior Dos Santos, Mir began to look like a different fighter. The urgency was still there, but the results were harder to come by. He continued chasing one last run to the top, but the division had moved on. Over his next stretch, Mir went 4-2 against elite competition, picking up wins over top contenders, yet falling short whenever the title picture came back into view. By this stage of his career, Mir's body was carrying years of damage. The 2004 motorcycle accident had never truly stopped haunting him, and after more than a decade at heavyweight, the accumulated injuries and punishment were beginning to show. His final fight in the UFC came against Mark Hunt. It ended in a knockout loss, and shortly afterward, Mir tested positive for a banned substance substance, effectively closing the chapter on his UFC career. USADA announced that Mir tested positive for a long-term metabolite of the steroid DHCMT in 2016.
The United States Anti-Doping Agency handing him a 2-year suspension.
They imposed a 2-year suspension effective April 2016. Mir insisted he did not knowingly take a banned substance.
I've already spent a lot of money just on an 8-week period of my life. Now they're telling me it can be 2 or 3 years of my life with different supplements that could have been tainted.
Like, how do you track that, right?
How do you even begin? I don't even know.
So,
like, I want to find out the truth, but now I'm looking at it seems like a pretty insurmountable hill.
Are you planning on appealing this, or by them coming out with the final sanction, if you will, is that an indication that you are not going to appeal this?
no, at this point, I don't know how I could even try to begin to appeal.
Okay, because it's impossible to know when it happened because there's such a long shelf life for this metabolite?
Correct.
He subsequently asked the UFC to terminate his contract while suspended so he could seek other opportunities.
I feel extremely comfortable that if the UFC were to release me, that I'll be able to work in other organizations and fight and do broadcasting.
In August 2017, it was reported Mir secured a release.
Ultimately, how difficult was it?
It wasn't easy. By them not releasing me, it was basically interfering with my ability to provide an income for my family. That if you guys let me go and I go to a competitor, it's not going to change you guys' lifestyle. If you don't let me go, drastically changing mine. Hunter Campbell actually finally met with me and called me back. We're able to come to terms.
Do you want to keep fighting?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So you have not talked to Dana since leaving the company?
No, I haven't talked to Dana since before Mark Hunt.
I mean, not even a goodbye, not even a thank you, not even a, best wishes, nothing?
No, I guess not,
And signed with Bellator MMA.
Had it still been owned by the Fertittas, I don't think I could have ever made the move. Frank and Lorenzo were always very good to me. In fact, Joe Silva was a very close friend of mine for many, many, many years. And he was the matchmaker. The fact that they're no longer part of the company, it made it a whole different company. So it wasn't like I really left the UFC. It's almost like the UFC changed hands and then I just left with it.
After the suspension lifted, Mir made his Bellator debut in 2018. He took part in Bellator's Heavyweight Grand Prix, losing by first-round TKO to heavyweight legend Fedor Emelianenko.
Fedor, the GOAT. Fedor.
Later in 2018, he tapped the strikes against Javi Ayala.
If he makes it that far. Oh, he just tapped out. He just tapped out. That's it. Frank Mir taps out.
Even in Bellator, the damage followed him. Knees, joints, and years of punishment catching up in real time. The one bright spot was a unanimous decision win over Roy Big Country Nelson. In 2021, Mir tested himself in other combat sports. He lost a boxing fight against Steve Cunningham and suffered a knockout loss in a kickboxing-style fight with Kubrat Pulev.
Even my last fight before I had my neck surgery, I lost use of my arm because my neck was so damaged and I had to have my neck fused a couple days after the fight. The surgery was already scheduled and ready to go. And I took the fight. It was like $750,000. Like, shit, I can't say no.
Like the Brockville Philly apparent. Oh, big right hand. Mir's hurt. He's out on his feet. He's out on his feet. Left hook. He's out on his feet. This one's over. Kubrat Pulev won.
Mir began entertaining thoughts of retirement as he entered his 40s. In late 2022, he announced that he wanted to have a swan song MMA fight on the same card as his daughter, Bella Mir, who is herself a young pro fighter. He transitioned into retirement mode by signing 2 bouts with UFL in 2023, intending to make one final appearance as his last contest.
This probably will be the last time I'll ever fight as a martial artist. I've been fighting on the same card with Bella, and we've been throwing around, and this is really just early talks.
As of 2025, Frank Mir's MMA career is essentially concluded. Throughout this period, Mir has often spoken about the pride of sharing the sport with his daughter and about passing the torch to her.
My daughter, I will be known as the father of Isabella Mir more than I'll be known as Frank Mir before it's all said and done.
So with the knowledge that you have, and you're bestowing all of this on Bella, she's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, no. My daughter now is going to be, she'll be the champ. She's going to be the #1 female fighter in the world. Obviously, there's nothing 100% in life, death and taxes, right? But I would put Bella being an undefeated champion is probably number 3.
Okay,
Outside
man.
the
Talk
cage,
your
Mir
talk,
has stayed
man.
busy in MMA and media. He co-hosts the Phone Booth Fighting podcast with comedian Richard Hunter, interviewing fighters and sharing fight stories.
Full Moon
fighting down at my house twice weekly, and we talk.
Mir also worked as a color commentator for promotions like ACB after his UFC run. According to interviews, he has even dabbled in stand-up comedy and kept a few private coaching and training ventures. In 2019, Mir also crossed into the world of pro wrestling, joining Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Yeah, I just think that right now those opportunities came for me. Working at the Bloodsport and then the event they had here, the Future Stars of Wrestling event. Those are easy transitions because it's just, it's
grappling.
Yeah, that I do every day. I roll with guys all the time where it's like, all right, I can roll with a person who weighs 120 pounds.
For years, he ran a gym in Las Vegas where he coached fighters. Mir and his wife Jennifer have frequently spoken about family life too.
It was like perfect straight from the beginning. He wanted to have kids. He wanted to have a family. This is what he was going to do.
The fact that she stayed, she a real one. She a real one. Shout out to her, man. Is that
this
the
was
same
his
one?
career.
Taking care of me, teaching me how to be a man, and really consider him as, my real dad.
They are devoted
Oh, no, that's another
family
girl.
with
Okay, bet. Yeah,
3 children together.
I think certain
No,
people have
that's
some pretty skewed ideas of what
Am I
family
tripping?
is. Just because I procreated with your mother and she gave birth to you, so now I'm your father. If it was that easy, then it wouldn't be an admirable trait. Obviously, it has to be a little bit more work behind it than that.
He often emphasizes the importance of training and education
That's
for
the
his
same girl,
kids.
man.
You have to be at least a blue belt in jiu-jitsu before you can move out. If you're not at least a blue belt, you're not getting through me to get out the door. You know what I mean? Like so.
He also launched a small clothing gear business for MMA fans, often featuring his surname branding, Mir. Whatever he does, Mir makes it clear that martial arts are a way of life for him and his family.
15 years you've been in the UFC.
Yeah.
Not many people can say that they were like literally top 5 in that division the whole fucking time pretty much.
In October 2025, Frank Mir was hospitalized after a serious spinal issue left him temporarily unable to feel his legs, forcing emergency surgery and a long rehabilitation.
You only have one body. I thought I could come back, dude. I can't. My body just, I'm in too much pain. And man, I'm paying for it a heavy price now.
Mir's legacy in MMA is significant. A 2-time UFC heavyweight champion and submission specialist with the most heavyweight submission victories in UFC history.
List of people you fought. I mean, Tank Abbott, Tim Silva, Brock Lesnar, Mirko Cro Cop, All-Star Overeem, Mark Hunt, Fedor, Roy Nelson. I mean, the list is like some of the most legendary fighters of all time.
He revolutionized what a jiu-jitsu game could do for big men. Even as he walks away from competition, Frank Mir's impact on his peers and on fans endures. Today, he continues to champion the sport through media, coaching, and family, a testament to his journey from Las Vegas Karate Kid to MMA legend.
Yeah, that's the same girl. Yeah, she a legend. But I ain't know his daughter was fighting though. She in the UFC right now, or she in Bellator? What's she in? Like, what's she at right now? Somebody let me know in the comments, man. I gotta watch her for sure, ski. But hey, shout out to the fam though, man. For real, man. Shout out to the fam, man. That's how life's supposed to be. But look, man, like, comment, subscribe, man. Let me know who y'all want me to watch next, bro. But I'm gonna see y'all next video, man. Y'all already know what's going on. No cap.